I literally pray to God for my skin to be the way that it is now. So I'm very grateful for this drug that has changed my life. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sierra. As you guys can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about my experience with spironolactone after taking it for over a year. It's really been almost a year and a half now. I started taking spironolactone in April of last year. So I feel like I definitely have enough under my belt for me to speak on it and let you guys know what my experience has been like. Before we get into the video, I just want to give a disclaimer. Everything that I'm talking about is my personal experience. We're obviously all very different and react different to things. Today, I'm just telling you all how I've responded to spironolactone. So I hope you guys take everything I say with a grain of salt. Also, make sure you're talking to your doctor before taking anything and making sure that you're making the most informed decision if it's something that you want to try in the future. With that being said, let's hop right into the video. I'm assuming that if you click the video, you already know what spironolactone is, but in case you don't, spironolactone is basically an anti-androgen pill, and androgens are basically male sex hormones such as like testosterone. So when you have high amounts of androgens in your body, it typically results in higher oil production, and that's where the acne comes from. Those cystic bumps that are deep in the skin, usually very painful, and focus more on the lower half of your face. So essentially all it's doing is preventing the oil production that causes acne. I've had hormonal acne for several years now, but I really didn't notice it at first. I think initially most people with hormonal acne think that their acne is very much like everyone else's. Oh, it's because you don't have a good skincare routine, or because you're not eating the right things, or you're not working out as much. But it comes to be like once you have all your ducks in a row and your acne is still not acting right, you realize that there's something a bit different going on with you. My acne started off very mild, and then over time it just started getting worse. I started noticing that people were treating me differently. I would be having a conversation and I noticed that they're looking at my skin more than they're looking at me as a person. And people started giving me unsolicited skincare advice as if I hadn't tried everything already. Once I started noticing that my self-confidence was going down and I was starting to get more depressed about my skin, sometimes I would look in the mirror and just start bursting out in tears because I didn't know what was going on. That's when I realized I needed to talk to a medical professional and get some serious help about my skin. If you want to hear more about my hormonal acne journey, I do have a video that I will link right above here. So when I was doing my research and I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I landed on me having hormonal acne. And I thought hormonal acne was just when you have really bad breakouts during your period and things like that. And it's very similar to that. And some people do experience that, but that wasn't the case for me. But once I put two and two together that didn't necessarily have to be the case, then that's when I looked into actual options that I needed to take to help my skin. The only medications I found that helped treat hormonal acne were birth control and spironolactone. So I knew I didn't want to take birth control, mostly because I am abstinent, so I didn't really feel that push to take birth control. Also, I heard a lot of really bad stories about birth control and how it causes mood swings, how it causes your acne to worsen, or after you get off of birth control, you have like a terrible relapse of acne. So I didn't want to experience any of those symptoms, and I just didn't want my period to be affected or any of all of the extra crazy side effects that come with birth control. So next, when I looked into spironolactone, I was a little alarmed at first because it is a blood pressure medication. So I was like, that's very odd. I was nervous that it would make me feel dizzy or make me want to pass out or things like that. But outside of that, when I was watching people's videos of their experience with spironolactone, it seemed that they didn't have a bad experience. They weren't having these terrible breakouts. Instead of it fixing the problem, it wasn't anything changing your period or causing you to have mood swings. So I was leaning a lot more towards spironolactone. So I talked to my doctor and they did recommend it for me. and I started off taking 100 milligrams, and I realized that my acne fixed itself by about 50%. So I tried to book a follow-up appointment with my doctor, and it was booked 3 months out. So I started taking 150 milligrams without their permission, and I don't recommend anybody do this, but I wasn't gonna wait 3 months just for them to tell me to take 150 instead. So by the time I got to my next appointment, I realized that the 150 was helping my skin by like 82%. So then my doctor put me on 200 milligrams, which is the max recommended dose for hormonal acne. And I found that my skin was regulated by about 92%. And I can really attribute that last 8% to my diet. And also I kind of started lacking on my skincare routine. But that is one thing that I really enjoy about spironolactone. It took away that slave-like feeling that I had to my skincare routine. Before, if I skipped a day or if I didn't, do all the steps that I was supposed to do, then I would have this looming fear over my head that the next day my skin was gonna be bad. And because sometimes it really would be the case. Like if I skipped my day, I would have 3, even 4 or 5 pimples the next day, which would be so overwhelming for me. So now I'm not afraid to skip a skincare night if I don't feel like doing it. Obviously you want to have good hygiene and whatnot, but sometimes I'm just super lazy. So now I have that freedom to be able to make those decisions for myself without having that fear that the next day my skin is just gonna wreak havoc on my life. So that's one thing I really enjoy about it. One thing I noticed about my skin very early on when I started taking spironolactone is that it took my skin from being ultra oily to fairly normal skin type. Before I started taking spironolactone, at the end of the day, my skin would be very, very oily. Even if I did nothing, even if I was in bed, never left the house all day, my skin would just be super duper oily. But now that is not necessarily the case. I feel like my skin is very normal. The only time I start getting very, very oily skin is when I'm wearing makeup, and that's kind of rightfully so. So I can't, not expect that. But it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. I never went in with the expectation that spironolactone would completely eradicate my acne. I just wanted to be able to have something more manageable on a day-to-day basis, and I feel that I've definitely achieved that with spironolactone. So next, let's talk about side effects. How the drug actually made me feel over this past year. And if I'm being honest, I really didn't have a lot of side effects. And that's also another thing that I really love about spironolactone. The only thing I felt was during those first 3 months or so, I would get little dizzy spells, but they wouldn't just come to me out of nowhere. They would only come when I would be laying down and I would sit up very quickly. What that is called is orthostatic hypotension, and it's basically a drop in your blood pressure when you sit up really fast. And that really makes sense because since spironolactone is a blood pressure medication, I can see how that effect would be a lot more drastic during my day-to-day life when I first started incorporating it into my routine. I would notice it if I got out of bed too quickly, or sometimes when I was working out and say I'm doing like sit-ups and I have to sit, actually get up very quickly. I was noticing that I would just get dizzy for about 5 to 10 seconds and then it will regulate itself back out. But it really didn't happen too often where, it affected my day-to-day life. So I don't even see that as like a terrible side effect. And besides that, nothing else really changed. I didn't get random, drops in my blood pressure. I didn't have any changes to my menstrual period. I didn't have any changes in my PMS symptoms. I didn't have any differences in my hair or my nails. I didn't have cravings or anything like that. And I also didn't see any major changes in my energy levels either. I guess I could say that spironolactone had like an indirect impact on my mood and my anxiety, because as my skin got better, my mood and my anxiety lessened. So that was really great. I didn't make any special changes to my lifestyle or my diet. I did gain some weight, but I do think that's directly attributed to me not eating healthy and me not working out as much as I should. If I ever skipped a day, I didn't notice any drastic changes. Honestly, sometimes right before my period, if I skip a lot of days, then I will notice that I'll have a few breakouts, but it won't be anything major. It might just be, you know, one on each cheek, or just, you know, a couple that I can handle, not my whole face breaking out. A way that I keep track of my intake of the medicine is I use the health app on my phone, and you can track your medications in there, and they can give you reminders to make sure that you're staying on top of taking it. I also really like to do that because it shows me how many days I have missed, and that kind of gives me a gauge on like how much acne I can expect. So if over a 30-day period I missed 7 days, it's likely that I will end up getting a pimple or two. And when I say pimples, I'm referring to like the deep cystic nodules that you relate to with hormonal acne. I do get like little bumps here and there that are just normal acne, sometimes on my forehead, and that's attributed to when I skip my skincare a lot. So just keep that in mind. I feel very blessed at the situation that I'm in right now. I literally pray to God for my skin to be the way that it is now. So I'm very grateful for this drug that has changed my life. But yeah, I know that starting medication can be a little nerve-wracking. You don't know what's gonna happen. You're not sure how you're gonna really feel. But I'm very happy to say that so far I've had a wonderful experience. I'm very grateful for how my skin is today. It was important for me to not wear makeup because I wanted you guys to see what my skin looks like on a regular day. I do still, it's, you know, I don't have glass skin right now, but it's very much manageable. I don't have any outstanding pimples or breakouts all over my face. So for that, I'm extremely grateful. Next, I just want to talk about my skincare routine. If you want to hear in-depth products that I use and the reasons why, check out my hormonal acne journey video. But for now, the major things that I use are very simple: a cleanser and a moisturizer. I use tretinoin specifically 6 days out of the week. And 1 day a week I use lactic acid, which is a chemical exfoliant. And in the mornings I use Dapsone, which is a topical prescription that also helps with hormonal acne. I'm able to have a very simplistic skincare routine now that, you know, everything is regulated, which I'm also very grateful for. I never liked using a whole bunch of different products and trying things out because then you like never know what's actually going on with your skin. So that, you know, really cleared up my skincare. So I haven't consulted with my doctor after I've reached a level of satisfaction with my skin, but I do know that if anything ever goes wrong or if I feel that I need a change, that they're one email away and I can just always come in and get something different. My goal in the next year is to lose a lot of weight because I know that that is what is directly attributing to my actual hormone balance in the first place. I've never wanted to use spironolactone as a long-term solution to my hormonal acne, especially since it's blood pressure medication. I do want to get into more holistic and natural ways to combat my acne. I just needed something short term to get my life in order because who knows how long it's going to take me to, you know, lose the weight and, you know, balance my hormones naturally. I don't know what I'm up against, and in the meantime I just needed to make sure that everything is good. So until then, I won't be weaning off of spironolactone. I do see myself using it for another year or two. Sometimes I feel like it can be so hard living in the States because there's so many additives to things, and things just aren't, you know, of high quality anymore. And if you want high quality, you have to pay so much more. But I cannot blame America for all of my problems. I know that I need to lose weight, I need to be more active, and I need to make healthier decisions. But overall, I absolutely 100% recommend spironolactone. I do recommend, before any of you watching want to give it a try, just to talk to your doctor. And if you do start it, just listen to your body. Obviously, you know yourself best, so don't be afraid to stop using it and try something new if you find that it's not working for you in the way that it has worked for me or other people on the internet. And also, if you guys have any questions about my experience or anything else, just leave a comment down below. I pride myself in responding to everyone's comments. And if you found this video helpful at all, please give it a thumbs up, or if you just want to support me and my channel, I would really appreciate it. And I would love for you to subscribe and join the Sierra Leone family. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching my video today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.